Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
okay, all
Let me
right.
just quickly introduce. I guess that's a good idea. So, hello, this is Clay Gordon from the Chocolate Life, a really passionate
Hey, world.
person. And we're talking about a lot of chocolate stuff going on here. And we've been talking already for about an hour, but now I want to give you the chance to talk about the American scene. There's something really cool going on about Patrick, Theo, and Askinosie.
And those are just three names.
Yeah.
Just three names.
What's happening there?
Well,
Why all of a sudden are these American brands popping up?
It's not all of a sudden. It's been happening over the course of the last 10 years. And so we're just getting to a point of critical mass where there are a lot of players, where people have been experimenting for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, have decided to actually go into production. So in addition to the names you mentioned, Theo, Patrick, Askinosie, we have Soma in Canada, we have Black Mountain, there's Fresco in Washington, we have Oliver and Sinclair in Texas, a new one called Cacao Atlanta in Atlanta, Georgia, who may be the only female chocolate maker from Bean, Kristen Hard. There's obviously Colin Gasco, Amano. I mean, it's really starting to take shape, in part because the people who are coming into this business have been inspired by the people who are in front of them, seeing that, yes, this is something that it's a living, it's a passion. We can go in and
Is it being inspired by the European scene?
No, it's not being inspired by the European scene at all. As a matter of fact, much of the most interesting chocolate that's being made from bean in the world is actually being made in the United States. And there's actually a growing understanding by many of the larger, more established European players that it's these little companies that are willing to take risks because there's not the tradition, there isn't the history that there is here in Europe. And the French, they have this history of protecting the patrimony, the history of what it is that they're doing. And we don't have that tradition in the United States. And so people can go do things that just wouldn't be considered because they know that they would never sell in Europe. It's actually very interesting coming from the United Kingdom. So I was 3 days in London for Chocolate Unwrapped and part of Chocolate Week, and then coming here to the Salon du Chocolat and seeing the difference in culture between what's going on in the United Kingdom and what's going on here, then traveling along to Euro Chocolate in Perugia tomorrow morning and seeing a little bit about the difference. And part of it is who the people are, and part of it is actually the culture of chocolate within each of these countries, and then who the audience is for these shows. So we're downstairs here in the press room of the Salon du Chocolat Professionnel, and then upstairs is the general consumer show. In Euro Chocolate, it's just a consumer show, and so we would expect a very different kind of audience and a lot of different companies that are here. There are no American chocolate companies here.
Not yet.
There is a chocolate company that's a joint venture between an American, we all know Frederick Schilling, who's the founder of Dagoba, and some cocoa growers in the Bahia state of Brazil. It's called AMA, A-M-M-A. This is their worldwide launch, their worldwide debut. Here at the show, they're doing a very, very creditable, very, very interesting chocolate. It's a wonderful project they've got going on in the plantations.
Cool. Who do you kind of admire in the chocolate industry or in chocolate history, maybe?
I have a sentimental connection to Stéphane Bonnat. It was 1994. People who've read my book know the story that it was coming across Bonnat Origin chocolate that got me started. And he's just a wonderful man. He comes from a family. He's the third generation, fourth generation head of the family. He doesn't have anything to prove. The family doesn't have anything to prove. He says, this is a hobby. Maybe one day we'll grow up. I mean, he's a man who's in love with what it is that he does. And it comes through in his everything that he does, and the generosity. Francois Pralou, same kind of way. They're good buddies. They hang out. Their stands are right next to each other, and there's no tension between the two of them.
Exactly.
And so, those are two. In terms of French chocolate, those are two of the people and companies that I admire the most.
And the funny thing is, if you read the About section on my blog, you will discover the same story, almost similar to Clay's one. Okay. Last question.
Okay.
Well, we have seen this enormous evolution past 2 decades about origin chocolates. what do you think from this point on, with the American scene doing a lot of novelty stuff? What is, well, not novel, but they're keeping things going on.
Yes.
What do you think may be the future of chocolate, terroir chocolates, for the coming years?
I think that there are a couple of trends going on in the marketplace. One having to do with an interest in organic, and the other one having to do with ethically certified, fair trade, and certifications like fair trade. In America, most of the growers are actually directly sourcing the beans. They're going directly to the farmer because they want to have that relationship, and they also want to know that the money they spend for their beans actually goes to directly to the farmer. And when you work with an organization like Fair Trade Flow, it's very, very difficult to actually guarantee, because there are no people on the ground in the cocoa growing countries that actually monitor the flow of funds. Right? People don't know about the fair trade specifically, is that co-ops are certified, not individual farmers. And so it's the co-op, the management of the co-op, that gets to decide what is done with the money. And it's impossible in a third world country to guarantee that the management of the cooperative is not corrupt. Hey, listen, in the United States, it's impossible to guarantee that the government is not corrupt, or in Germany, or any one of these places. You know, how many bribery and other kinds of scandals that we have. And so I think that one of the places where we're going is that far more small manufacturers are directly sourcing the beans. The other trend we're going to see, which I think is equally important, is a lot more manufacturing in the country of origin. So, for example, with Ama, I mean, it's one of the partners, Diego, is the owner of 3 cacao farms, and the factory is in Bahia. Right?
Yeah.
We're looking at the Crespo family in Ecuador. They're looking at producing a large quantity of chocolate for the world market, not for consumption in Ecuador, but for the world market in Ecuador. We're looking at there are producers here from Mexico, and they're making chocolate in Mexico for distribution on the world market. And so, so the important thing here is that when we think about gourmet foods, wine, scotch, cheese, and foods for which there are denominazione or appellation controls, where the food is made is within a few kilometers of where the ingredient is grown. And with chocolate, the cacao is normally grown thousands of kilometers from where the chocolate is made. And so making the connection back to the source, so that where the chocolate is made is very, very close to where the cacao is grown, is very, very important for everyone. It keeps more money in the country of origin. The farmers make more, but also I think that there's an opportunity for perhaps a more authentic taste than we're used to.
Yeah. Okay. One more. What is the role of chocolate in your life?
What is the role of chocolate in my life? Oh my gosh. I'm a curious fellow. Not curious in the sense of strange, but people have said that, but also curious because I like to learn new things. When I come across a problem that I don't know the answer to, I want to find out the answer. And so chocolate is an excuse, basically, for me to look at the world and learn about politics and sociology and economics and geography and things like that. It's also, I think that everybody, I've learned in doing this for the last 10 years, that I believe that everybody can be a great teacher. All they have to do is connect with their passion, right? And other people will see that connection, and so when they talk, it becomes a very powerful learning experience. And so for me, it's not just a matter of learning all of these things and keeping them to myself, but learning these things and then sharing what it is that I know, so that other people get just as excited and they are encouraged. Maybe they won't find, their passion is chocolate. They'll find their passion someplace else. But what will happen is they will see from my experience how I have managed to create my own chocolate life, right?
Yeah.
They will go and create their own chocolate life, whether it's in chocolate or not.
Awesome. Thank you, Clay, from thechocolatelife.com.
Thank you.